Afternoon, my name is Amy and I teach grade 3 or year 3, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about how we used Microsoft apps from grade R through to grade 3 during this year. So whilst there was a variety of apps that we did make use of in the primary school, the majority of the time we made use of Teams, Onenote, PowerPoint, Forms, and then there were lots of other ones that different grades used at different points in time. First, I'd like to talk about Teams. Having a class team really helped with communication. It meant that the learners in your class and you could communicate in a small group without interfering with the rest of the grade or across subjects, which was really useful. I had a class team for my class, you can see there for 3A, and we had our chat where we had things that we could discuss together. I had a locked channel on the side for my personal admin, which was very useful because it meant I could share things from there with the children, but still be able to keep some of the things hidden. I also chose to allow a social channel. During the online learning period, it was really difficult for children to sort of see their friends and get involved, and so I did have a social channel that I let the learners chat in, and they could post fun things. Right. Our grade 1s or our year 1s had a folder for each child within their class. This is useful because it makes finding their work a lot easier. It means that you can find children's work in their folder. It means they know where to put it. If there's an adult helping them, there's a lot of guidance on where exactly they need to save things, and you're not looking for documents that have been saved in the wrong folders. It also helps you keep track of what learners have uploaded and allows you to just monitor their work throughout the time, and you've got evidence of their work. You could also split it into subjects, or terms. You can see we've got term 1 and term 2. So you can see in the folder they've uploaded their work with their name and then the assignment's name. So the teacher can see that the assignment was handed in on the 17th of June, and that was the assignment that it was submitted, and it's got the child's name in, and they can then download it and assess it. Here you can see the teacher has opened the work. They can see that the learner has done it. Parents could have sent a picture in, or they could have uploaded a scan of it, and that's makes it very easy for you to monitor the girl or the children's work. This worked really well for our grade 1 learners and the grade 1 teachers, and a lot of the girls were managing to upload things independently towards the end of the process. In Teams, I found that channels were really useful in the older years, as I mentioned. I had channels for subjects, for ability groups, and then, as I mentioned, little social channels where my learners could share recipes that they'd done at home or little activities that they'd done, so they felt like they were still connecting with their friends. But it was really useful to have channels for specific subjects, as then learners know where to go when they need to find a resource. Instead of things being all over the place or being uploaded in one place, they know where they need to go to find files, and they know which channel is the correct channel to ask a question in. And then you can monitor that Afrikaans questions only happen in the Afrikaans channel. OneNote and Class Notebook. I will admit OneNote did seem a little bit daunting for the first time. However, once I got the hang of it with the help of one of the other members of our innovation team, Wendy, we definitely made a lot of progress on it. The the grade 3s made use of OneNote, but the grade R's or year K's made use of OneNote a lot. It was an easy way for parents to upload photos or scans of their children's work. Each child had their own folder, which only they could access. The teacher can write comments back on the document, you can annotate on it, you can give stickers, and it's really useful as a visual tool for the smaller children because they can see their teacher's feedback and they can see what is happening. It's also really useful for the teachers, again, because everything is in one folder and all of their work is together. So when you need to find activities they've done, you know where to find them. Sorry. Sorry, I'm clicking too fast with this. The Classwork Notebook was also useful for the girls to upload their work that was for assessments, and the teachers could then mark it. And as you can see in the pictures, the girls could do drawings or fill out worksheets and then upload those onto the class notebook for the teachers to be able to access. I am a little bit biased teaching year 3 or grade 3, so I found that it was incredibly useful. It was fantastic to be able to distribute worksheets, distribute memos, screenshots of textbooks that they needed to see that they didn't have access to at home, and to be able to do all of that into their teacher's notes where no one could accidentally delete it or make it disappear or move it or anything like that. So it was really useful for me to be able to distribute work like that, and for the girls to then be able to work in those folders. So in each child's folder, they had a section for each individual subject, and there they could complete their work. So it allowed them to type work out. If they were on a device where they could write in their own handwriting, they could write work out. And they sort of got the hang of uploading pictures, drawing pictures, and sort of creating work that was their own work and adding their own unique touches to, which they would normally be able to do in their books in class. I found it very useful for, oh, sorry, there I go again. I found it really useful for the girls to be able to write paragraphs and be able to assess them on paragraphs. Sorry, let me get. Sorry about that. I found it really useful to be able to assess paragraphs and assess writing in this format. And because I could edit and annotate over their work, they could go back and have a look and see where they'd made mistakes. They could correct them, they could go back and do corrections, they could write comments back to me. And it was a great way to communicate about their work, which was something we would normally have in class as a face-to-face contact. But this was a really useful tool to be able to do that with. We did quite a few art assignments on OneNote as well, so where the girls were drawing pictures and uploading them, or girls were sent projects where they had to take their own photographs and upload photographs, find photographs off the internet and upload those, and they were able to do that all in one document, which then I could see and I could keep track of and was saved there for me for future reference. Our year 2s or grade 2s have made fantastic use of PowerPoint presentations in all of their subjects during the time online as well as the hybrid learning time now. So what they have done is they've created breakdown pages of their textbook. So their maths textbook has a breakdown page, and when you're at home, you can go through the page while you're with your teacher explaining it. Your teacher can annotate on it, and then the children will be able to watch that happening at home. And when you're doing hybrid learning, the same thing can happen. Learners in the class can annotate onto the PowerPoint, and the children who are overseas or who are not at school are then able to watch that presentation and be able to be a part of the lesson as well. So these have been really useful tools because the grade 2s teachers will not only have used these for this term, these are going to be able to be used for years to come. They will be able to use the same pages from the textbook and use these presentations in future years, which is really fantastic because when you've put that much effort into it, you want to make sure that it's a sustainable resource that you can use again next year or the year after without losing it. So here's an example of a question in the mathematics textbook, and there's a guideline of how to work the question out together. So they've broken down the question and they've put a line at the bottom to create a number line, and that way the class can work the question out together and the working out can be put onto the PowerPoint for everybody to watch. They continued to excel with their PowerPoint and they used their PowerPoints to teach comprehensions. This is also fantastic because it is a resource that can be used in the future. So it means that the comprehension is available for all the children to read together as a class online. So everybody would be able to follow online, whether they're at home or follow in the classroom, and the comprehension can be read together. This then allows the opportunity for everybody to discuss the questions afterwards and answer the questions verbally, while the children can then go and answer them somewhere else in a written format. The final app that we made quite a lot of use of, specifically in year 3 or grade 3, was Forms. I used Forms to write my weekly spelling tests and first additional language tests, which in my case were Afrikaans tests. So why Forms is a useful tool? The variety of types of questions I felt was really fantastic because it was something that we'd never really been able to give our children exposure to before, because things like multiple choice questions are not particularly common when you're just doing written work in books. So I really enjoyed the opportunity to give them those, and it helped when we were doing practicing or training for the international benchmark tests that specifically the grade 3s write. So it gave them a little bit of practice on the different types of formats that questions can come in. Right, and that's it from me and our grade Rs to grade 3s. So if there are questions, please feel free to post them in the...
Amy, there is a question before you go. Was it confusing for learners who had to have so many various programs? Did they have difficulty finding documents, uploading, etc. between programs, especially seeing as they were so young? Did a parent have to present throughout the lessons or just set it up?
I think that...
Amy, just repeat the question to the mic, or say what you want.
So in terms of the children, because they are younger, being able to manage all the different programs, being able to keep track of what is in different programs and how much parental assistance is necessary in order to get through this process. I think the first sort of 2 weeks were definitely trial and error. We spent quite a bit of time recording little videos. A lot of people from the Innovation Committee had made little how-to videos that were available for the learners to watch. So how to upload your work into the correct folder, how to find your work in the correct folder. And in the beginning, it does take a little bit of training of sharing your screen and going, okay, we're going to click here, and there you'll find your work. And for the most part, making it as simple and the folders as simple and obvious as possible really assists the lower grades because they can simply read exactly what they need. The grade Rs did need parental assistance, so they would have needed someone to help them upload the picture to their OneNote. However, during the time, I think it was something that we took into consideration that different parents have different working hours, and so photos got uploaded or work got uploaded when parents were available to help, and that might have been at slightly different times for everyone. But the girls definitely did get the hang of it the more they've participated in it. So by the end of it, the grade 3s were uploading and creating folders all by themselves and managing to switch between the apps. What also made switching between the apps of sort very useful was that most of them are based within Teams, so they could just open them in Teams. They didn't have to leave their Teams program to open anything else, which was really useful because they could just have that open and find what they needed to find within that